The words helping and boundary didn't intersect in my life for many years. I was hyper-aware of others' reactions and made it my job to assist them or fix them or make them feel happy. Now, because of Stoicism and similar philosophies, I've come to realize I can be a sympathetic and caring person while having the inner fortitude to draw a line in the sand. If you are someone who gives generously of themselves to help others, but is dealing with stress and burnout, stay until the end. This video will provide 10 practical things you can do to set effective boundaries. We all, to some extent, feel energies from other people. We sense something that is more than what we see or hear. Whether we interpret things truthfully will be up to our own experience, but it's a simple truth that this sixth sense exists. I know it because I've felt it all my life. I did not know what it was, nor did it seem to be acknowledged by others around me. It became, in a way, my shield. My way of keeping myself safe was to use this sense in an attempt to figure out what other people wanted from me, so I could give it to them, and so they would be okay with me. I made myself responsible for their happiness and comfort. I had no boundary between myself and them. It took me a long time to realize there needed to be a separation between me and other people, not from selfishness, but from a sense of selfness. A few years ago, I literally lay awake all night reflecting on my life and my choices, realizing very profoundly that I didn't know who I was, that if I continued on this path of pleasing others and helping others and being good to others, all laudable things, of course, that the little left of me would disappear and never return. I had to make changes, but where to start? How to find the person who I truly was under layer after layer of armor and programming? I wish there was one easy answer. It took time, it took discipline, it took enduring the questioning looks of relatives and friends, the dubious responses to my first steps on a new path. I had always been a certain way. By being that way, by pleasing others and doing what others needed, by attempting to exceed their expectations, by trying to save them, I had given everything I could to help. When I started to set boundaries, when I started to say politely with dignity the word no, it was a huge struggle. The guilt was overwhelming, from within and from without. We are creatures of habit. When one of us is changing and the other is resisting, it's not easy. One of the books I recommend which talks about this is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. She writes about the vulnerability you feel when you take your first steps on a new path to a more creative self. She talks about the critics who will silence you and block you and discourage you. I also found Dr. Wayne Dyer's early books to be very helpful in understanding the pattern of behavior within my family, helping me to change my responses to manipulation and guilt tripping. Later, I discovered Stoicism and found it very much in alignment with what I had learned so far. Stoic philosophy suggests we refuse to take responsibility for the feelings and responses of others, not by being unkind, but by being present in the moment, reflecting on what is happening without emotion, focusing on what is within our control and accepting what is not. We cannot fix or change the actions or emotions of others. We can strive to maintain inner tranquility and wisdom, even in the face of challenging situations or difficult people. Setting boundaries is indeed a practice that requires both self-awareness and consistent effort. Here are some practical steps you can take to develop the perspective needed to set and maintain boundaries. 1. Self-reflection. Take time to reflect on your own values, needs, and limits. What are your priorities in life? What behaviors or situations are acceptable or unacceptable to you? Understanding yourself better will help you identify where you need to set boundaries. 2. Identify triggers. Pay attention to situations, people, or behaviors that make you feel uncomfortable, stressed, or resentful. These are often indicators that a boundary has been crossed or needs to be set. 3. Communicate assertively. Practice expressing your needs and boundaries in a clear, respectful, and assertive manner. Use I statements to express how you feel and what you need rather than blaming or accusing others. 4. Practice saying no. Learn to say no without feeling guilty or obligated to explain yourself. Remember that saying no is not selfish. It's about prioritizing your own well-being and boundaries. 5. Set limits. Be proactive about setting limits on your time, energy, and resources. This might involve setting boundaries around how much time you spend with certain people, how much work you take on, or how you allocate your resources. 6. Learn to delegate. Recognize that you don't have to do everything yourself. Delegate tasks or responsibilities to others when appropriate, and be willing to ask for help when you need it. 7. Be clear about your expectations with others and be willing to renegotiate boundaries as needed. This may involve being open to compromise when necessary. See number 9 if you need help with this. 8. Prioritize self-care activities that help you recharge and maintain your emotional and mental well-being. This might include exercise, meditation, hobbies, or spending time with loved ones. 9. Surround yourself with people who respect your boundaries and encourage you to prioritize self-care. Seek out therapy or counseling if you need additional support. 10. Be patient and persistent. Setting boundaries is a skill that takes time to develop, and it's normal to encounter setbacks along the way. Be patient with yourself, and don't be afraid to reassess and adjust your boundaries as needed. Consistency and persistence are key. I have found that my sixth sense can also be a valuable asset in my work of mentoring others. It allows me to connect with them, to listen to them, and understand their perspective. In this gentle and holistic manner, we can speak to each other with compassion and understanding. Even then, however, there is a boundary. When the session is over, when the Zoom call is disconnected or the door closes, I need to take time to breathe and reassert my independence from the feelings and experiences of others. I need to come home to myself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius.